So I just acquired 3 Columbia block games, and I'm going to be showing them here the strategy and the tactics. And the first one here is Julius Caesar, and I acquired these because they're pretty fun games, what I hear, and they're easy to set up and can be played real quick. So, the first one, Julius Caesar, we had a practice game a couple times with my son, his friend. Then I played Nicholas here, and he beat me as Caesar, and I was Pompey. Then we had another game with me, my son, and I developed Pompey's strategy right there after that game, what I need to do, and I won that game. And then this is a game I recorded with Nicholas. We went for another one with my strategy, and I believe it works fairly well. So in this game, there's other videos that people explain the roles, so I'm not going to go over them all. And unfortunately, our game, the volume wasn't on the camera. That's the second time we've had 2 games here and the volume wasn't on. And finally I figured it out. So anyways, paying attention to the cards and the moves. Whoever has the highest, who plays the card that has the highest move, gets to go first. And so really pay attention to that. And then how many troops you get to levy are represented by the emblems here. So when you have the cards in your hand, you really want to pay attention to your turns of when you're going and how many troops you're going to levy for this turn or the next turn. You know, you got to play keeping several turns in advance in your mind. You got to play ahead, you know, think of what you're going to do. You know, when you go into battle, a good rounded army will have B's and A's in them, along with your legions, which are usually attack strength 3. So just keep that in mind when you're fighting, to really keep the 3s, the C's, you know, 2 or 3, have a commander there, and make sure you got at least 1 B in there fighting, and you'll do okay in the battles. See, like this commander here, I have out Octavian. He's an A, so he's going to get to shoot first, and then the B shoots second. So it's very handy in battles. So keep that in mind.
So my first order of business as Caesar is to take Rome. Now I know he's not going to hold Rome. I know he's going to fall back to Sicily, because he learned from his last game from when he retreated from Sicily. And he did tell me that he realized the mistake. So he's going to hold at Messina and hold at the Straits. Now me, I don't know if I would even want to try to take Sicily. So I'm probably just going to keep a force here to keep him from, as deterrence from trying to move up to the peninsula. Now Spain, last time we played, it was really hard for me to take Spain. So I am going to try my best to push into Spain. But at the same time, I need to push into Greece. I need to take Athens and get the Athena legion. I need to take Byzantium to get the Byzantium Equites. I just need to make sure to get these. And as for the rest of the strategy, well, it has to do with the Navy. I'm going to wait for him to bring out his Navy. I'm going to attack it and try to sink it. I need to have control of the waters.
My plan is, if I was to go first, I might jump on Rome and take Rome, but then it locks me down here and I can possibly lose Pompey, which I really don't want to. It'll tie him down for a little bit, but it's going to take too much of my forces and too much of my levy going on there. So what I'm deciding to do is leave Rome to him. Now, most likely Caesar's going to go first anyways and jump on it. I'm going to retreat to Syracuse, hold on to Syracuse, and it's easy for me to defend across this strait. So I will take these forces, move them here, and then I will get Pompey to Utica. I'm going to use Utica as my base down here, because from here, if I can control the water here and here, I can go either way to help Spain or help this. But in the beginning, most of my effort's going to be here. I can levy here and then move out these 2 forces. Same thing here. Levy here and then move out this force. And I want to get a legion off of Crete, which is one of my best legions. So and then bunny hop into this area. So I want to control this area, control Syracuse, control Utica, and then these two I have, and not lose that. If I do that, I win the game. Now over here, I will do a defensive operation over here, and just try to hold him back in Spain as much as I can and put up some trouble there. But if I lose it, then I lose it, you know. But I can always stop him from coming across this strait in Spain and hold on to this pretty well. But once he takes these two cities from me, then he can start contesting the water. And that's what I got to watch for. That's why it's most important for me to own this water, and I'll fight him for this water.
Now, remember, I lost my audio, so I'll be kind of explaining what's happening here. And I wish with the camera we'd have showed our cards more to the camera, but I didn't. Sorry, I'll get better at trying to record these games. Also, Nicholas's friend had stopped by. His name is Nick also, and I let him run the Caesar side. Now, me and him were running it because he never played it, but he picked it up real quick because it is a real fast, fun. I really enjoyed this game. It's a great game, and so you'll see that I'm trying to explain things sometime, but that's who I'm talking to, Nick. He's sitting right off to the side of the table, right in front. You can't see him. So we play our card, and of course Caesar goes first, and you can see he moves into Rome, and then he masses some forces against, I believe it's pronounced Tarico in Spain. So at this point, I'm thinking either deal with Pompey there or Tarico, but obviously the choice is to move Pompey out of there because he's being threatened and he can get overwhelmed pretty quick. And so I start the first phase of my plan. So you can see here, I immediately move Pompey back. Remember, I'll lay some ground rules as we go along. If you don't attack, your blocks can move two cities. If you're going to attack somebody or contest a zone, they call it, then you can only move one city. So Pompey moves two cities right in right into Messina. That's Pompey and a legion. The navy, I immediately move two waters because you can do that too, just like the army. Two waters and not attack, or one water and attack. And I move them immediately into the ocean that I want to control. And then the legion that is in Brundisium, he can't reach Messina, so he goes to Rhegium right in front of Messina. And then remember, the second part of our phase is to control the east. So right away, we have a cavalry unit that can be levied in Antioch. And so I levy that unit there because Antioch, Scipio, the legion, and this cavalry will be moving out next turn. And then part of the rules, whenever you bring on a new block, it has to be brought on at step 1. And then depending on how many emblems you have, like you can notice our card there has 3 emblems. That's why we picked that card first. We wanted to levy stuff up quick. So I moved the block of Antioch, the cavalry, up a step, and then we levied over in Terrico. So that's all 3 emblems. 2 for the Antioch Legion, 1 for Terrico, that's 3. Now, the way the cards work is at the beginning of each year, there's going to be 5 years in this game. At the beginning of each year, you get to draw 6 cards. You discard 1 and you keep 5. So they give you an extra card and you decide what you want to discard. Those 5 cards are what you play every turn during that year. There's 5 turns in the year, and you must play one of your cards every turn. So now we get our cards, we pick them. And if you haven't figured it out, you can have turn flip-flops here. So Caesar went first, then I did. And if my card, if I put down higher movement point than he does, I will get a second turn in a row. So, but that can be counterproductive because, since Caesar wins ties in the draws. Therefore, he goes first most of the time. He's going to turn around and get a turn in a row, 2 turns in a row too. So sometimes that hurts. But as you see here, we played in an event card. The event cards allow you to automatically go first. If you both play an event card at the same time, then the turn is canceled, the cards are discarded, and you move to the next turn. So you can see the card we played here. It is, we played Mercury, and that allowed us to move an extra city. So we really like that for our anti-Ock force because we want it to move as fast as we can toward Byzantium. So we got to move out quick. Now, I must say, me and Nick, we were discussing strategies here. We actually didn't buy the Antioch cavalry on the first turn. We had levied a auxiliary and put it there because they're cheap, and we just put that there to hold Antioch while we only moved out Pompey and the Legion because we wanted to move them out quick. And then instead of, we couldn't reach Byzantium this turn, even being able to move 3 cities with the Mercury card. Therefore, Nick, my partner Nick, talked me into moving to Ephesus, which was a good move. We collected a city there, and then we'd be able to recruit a legion there. You'll see next turn, and then we'll move out again to Byzantium. So it was a good move. So we did that instead. So you can see there's different ways you can go here, and we just want to get to Byzantium first. But on the way, we're collecting blocks. Now, Nicholas, you can see he moves out Caesar, probably a legion, a cavalry, or something. He's coming over to the east now, so it's making me a little worried. And then he moves down to Rhegium to block us in Messina. And then he moves out on the flank in Spain. So he's doing everything he wants to do. So far, both our plans are moving along. So after playing our cards, you can see Nicholas went first, and he advances with Caesar. So it's making me a little nervous there. And then he builds up over by Spain. He looks like he's hard charging and he's ready to go. So we really have to think what we were going to do this round with our forces. And you can see here we're deciding what to do in Spain, whether we should retreat, should we put up a fight. He's got 6 units coming to hit us. So we decided to split up our forces, hold Terrico, that way he can't move 2, and then protect the flank. So that's the way we split up Spain. And then we're deciding what to do over here in the east with Caesar there. So you can see here we're really trying to think what to do here with the force in Ephesus, but what we decided to do was pull Pompey off of Syracuse and get him to Utica. Seeing how Spain may start to get overrun, we want to have Utica protected. And then we decided to levy in Ephesus to get forces there to compete with Caesar and fight Caesar if we have to. So the cards were played. We played Pluto, which allowed us to move more blocks over minor roads. So we moved the 4 blocks from Ephesus up to Anos. However, I didn't realize it at the time, and obviously either did the other player. The Pluto card only allowed you to move 3 blocks, not 4. So we got away with 1 there. Um, he just had a 1 movement card, and he attacked the 1 unit in Terrico, and it's a pretty foregone conclusion. We'll go over another battle and another one when it's bigger, how it works. So this is the last card in year 1, and we have an event card we played called Mars. And Mars allows us to move all 1 group up and attack first before any defending units get to fire. Because in battle, all defending units go first in their order. So all A's will fire, defending A's fire before offensive A's. All defending B's fire, then the attacking B's fire, then the defending C's fire, then the attacking C's. But in this case, because of the Mars event card, we got to shoot all 4 of our units first, and we really put some hits on Caesar there. And then when we're all done attacking, he gets to fire in his first round, everybody. Now, in the first round, you're not allowed to retreat. So he will fire. Now, when we start the second round, it reverts back to the original rules. So now Caesar will get to fire first. He's an A before Scipio because he is defending. However, he will retreat because you can retreat in the order that you fire. So instead of firing, he just retreats and gets Caesar out of there because we hurt Caesar. We moved him down to step 1, I believe. And then his second choice was his auxiliary, who gets to fire first. So he retreats him. And then I will get one B shot. And we ended up killing the Legion. So he got away with 2 guys. And then at the end of the battle, the victor is allowed to regroup, and you can regroup to any vacant or friendly city. So we sent one to Athens and the other force back. So let me talk supply right now, because you see we're grabbing for that ship because it was the last turn. We played our last card. That means it's winter, and then you start a new year. In winter, everything has to be in supply. To be in supply, you have to have 3 blocks or less on every city. Now, if the city has a number on it, a victory city that has numbers, you can have that many more blocks over the 3 count, depending on what the number of the city is. So all ships have to be in port at winter turn, and we forgot to do it, and we lost that ship. And that one, the ships to me are rough because you got to spend movement points to bring your ships out, spend movement points on turn 5 at the end of the year to bring your ships back into port, and then spend movement points again to get your ships back out. So I was very happy with this. I believe Caesar made a mistake by coming in with only 3 blocks. If you're going to come to do something over there with Caesar, you got to have, I would say, 4 blocks with them, and at least 1 or 2 other blocks, coming alongside him on the flank. So I believe that's Caesar's first mistake. It really puts us in a good position right now at this point, as far as the East goes. So at this point, he does pretty much what anybody would do, and I would probably do, is he pulls back in the east to regroup and advances in Spain. And that's exactly what he's doing. Now, to throw him off a little bit, this is why I like playing face to face. I start talking openly and out loud about how I want to threaten Rome and start taking the ocean. And, you know, Caesar's kind of weak right now. We need to hit him right in the belly, right in the underbelly there, right at Rome. So I start doing that kind of stuff. And in Spain, we decide the best action. Remember, we're fighting a defensive action here as we just keep pulling back, buying ourselves some time. Maybe our cards weren't good. We didn't like what kind of cards we had. It's hard to say, but we just pull back. And we consolidate now in the East and build up. Now, at this point in the East, we still consolidate our power. We do the same thing in Alexandria that we did in Antioch. What we decide to do is move our ship out of Alexandria and put it in the ocean right in front of it. And an amphibious move has to be done first. So you already have to have the ship in the ocean, because once you start moving the ships and your men around, you can't do any amphibious movement. So it takes a couple turns. We have to get the ship out there. Then the next turn, we move the legion to Crete, and then we levy the Crete legion on Crete, and then we keep advancing up from there. The Crete legion I like because it has a strength of a 3. Pompey don't have a lot of legions that are strength 3, and you can roll 3 dice with it. So I like to get it and move it up. And what I'm deciding here is the Athenian legion that we levied last turn. I want to move it up to the flank of Byzantium, because Byzantium is going to be more important. I'm expecting Caesar to build and come back at us, so I want to have Byzantium build up and a couple legions on its flank. And Athens, that's kind of a dead end if he moves that way. We'll just move in behind him, or watch if he's trying to do amphibious stuff out of Athens. So Byzantine would be more important to me. Like you see, we both played an event card. So uh, that turn gets canceled. And we liked it because his event meant he was going to attack first. So that our force in Spain there, he was going to hit it first, all his units, and we couldn't fire back in our order. So because remember, defenders usually fire first. So we like that. So they got canceled. And then you immediately go to the next turn. So if you notice here, we did move our legion across the water from Alexandria to Crete, and then we levied the Crete Legion there. So we are building up in the east, and it looks like Caesar's just content with just sitting in Italy. And we're fine with that. We're holding all the victory points. See, this is what I was talking about. Even if I lose the 2 in Spain, we still have more victory points than he does right now. And I guess I should point out, this is how the game is won. If you can have 10 victory points or more than the other player during any one turn, you automatically win the game. Or if the game goes the full distance, 5 years, 5 turns in a year, and then it's whoever has more victory points when that is over wins. So you notice in this battle, he attacked me with his main force of 3 from one road, and then in the flank he came over with 2 more. But you just see how it was reinforced in the first round. The reserve force cannot fight because you can only move one force into the battle. That's your main force. When you activate another force to move in, that's the reserve force. So in the first round, only his main force got to fight, and then in the second round, the reserve joined in. Now, he beat me in this battle, but I was able to retreat, and I retreated across the strait to the vacant city. And I retreated one force since it's winter turn coming up. I only moved 3 blocks into the strait across the strait, so I had to move another block in a different direction. I moved it up there. It's a vacant city, so I'm just trying to give him problems there as much as I can. Why we're enjoying controlling the east. And then, of course, I had to use movement points to move my boat back on Crete. So you will note here that I moved back out in the water to get my legions off of Crete. And besides him dealing in Spain, he decides to move 2 fleets into the ocean. Part of our dilemma here is with those 2 fleets sitting there, I have a fleet in Utica and I have the fleet in Crete right now. So I'm a little short on fleets. I had lost one in a winter time. We are deciding whether we want to attack those 2 ships sitting in the Internum Sea, or do we want to stay in port and thereby protecting our ships. So And the other choice was to split the fleets up, put one in the Aegean and one in the Hispanum Sea, Hispania Sea. And that way he would have to go one way or the other. And I was kind of leaning toward to go into port to protect him. But Nick decided that he would rather split them and see what Caesar did. So that's what we did. And then we built a fleet in Crete because you can only build ships where there's a major port and there's a ship symbol there, and Crete has the ship symbol there, so we can build a fleet there. And once again, I did my little ruse and start talking that with my fleet in Hispania Sea, we can start transporting troops from Utica up into Massilia that was open or anywhere else, and we can start going that way because I wanted him to pull his fleets away from the Aegean Sea. And so I start talking like that. And then you see he maneuvered to protect the cities, but he didn't pull his fleets. So that was a good move on his part, not to move away from decisive area on this battlefield right now, which is the east. To me, that is going to win him the game. And so he does the right thing. He moves into the Aegean. Our dilemma right now is this. We split up the ships. He went the right way. He went to the Aegean. That's the decisive spot. He didn't get pulled into the Hispania Sea. So we're going to have a battle there. Now, the thing is do I want to support that battle or do I not? I chose not to. I'd rather not. But Nick said, no, let's do it. Because I said, we've been losing every battle, except for the one we had with Caesar. We've been losing every battle in Spain. And he said, no, it's going to turn around. I feel it. So we went ahead and supported the battle in the Aegean. And you can see one ship was already at a 1, the other one was a 2, and we got 2 hits. He rolled 2 hits with the first main ship, which knocked one down and killed the other one. So he absolutely came through, and we won this naval battle in the Aegean, which to me is critical. It's the biggest decisive battle we've had here, second to the one we had with Caesar, stopping Caesar in up there in Thrace. And as you can just see here, he played the Jupiter car, and one of my legions defected to his side over there in Spain. But remember, attacking across the strait, he can only attack with one block if I'm defending it. So after our decisive naval battle in this Mediterranean, Nick decided he wanted to move our ships into the Hispania Sea and put all the pressure we can on Spain. So here it is in the third year, 2 turns to go in the third year, and we have the initiative. We just taken over the complete initiative of the game. He is reacting to everything we are doing, uh, and he's trying to hold on. And so you can see here, he's trying to mop up our last unit that we're running around in Spain with, but he kind of just levies over there on the coast because we're able to amphibious land anywhere along the coast right now, and we choose to go to Carthago. At this point, everything that's happening in Spain is irrelevant. Because even if he takes Carthago and gets that victory city, that gives him Carthago, Tarraco, Massilia, Rome, and that's it. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 points. We are holding everything in the east: Alexandria, Antioch, Ephesus, Byzantium, and Athens for 2, 3, 4, 5. For 6, we hold Syracuse for 7, and we hold Utica for 8. So it's 8-5, and he doesn't even hold Cartho yet because we took it back. So now we're pressuring these. So we got him fighting for stuff that's not even going to win in the game. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. It looks like he's not set up to have more fleets come out. I don't think he has any. So he was not prepared for the future like that, and losing his 2 ships. The game could have been very differently if he'd have won that naval battle.
Things didn't pan out, let's just say. I took Spain, so that was good. But he took Greece. And that was much harder to deal with. What also even made it even worse was he destroyed my fleet when I tried to attack. I didn't realize he was building more ships, and I kind of underestimated that. So when he destroyed my fleet, I think that was the biggest turning point.
I agree with that. The biggest decisive moment was that fleet battle. But 2 things. He has his best commander and probably some of his best units sitting out the entire war in northern Italy after he took that first loss. You absolutely can't do that. Caesar needs to be engaged, needs to be fighting. He should have built up and came back to Asia. Fighting for Spain at the later stages of the game, yes, you need to do it, but he was putting all his effort and all his intention into that. Um, Not good. He needs to pay attention to the score. Alexandria was really the only one that was going to turn this. I think my plan that we decided for Pompeii worked. I think it panned out pretty well. I'd like to try it again. And I think Nicholas would also like to try it again and realize he needs to put a lot more pressure on the east and in the water.